Power doesn't just speak less, it speaks without leaking. No emotion, no intention, no trace. Because once your words reveal nothing, no one can touch you. Most people talk to be seen, to be understood, to connect. But connection is exposure, and exposure is leverage. For the wrong person, they study your tone, track your inflection. Note what makes you pause, smile, flinch, defend, and without realizing it, you've told them everything, without saying anything direct. You've handed them a map. That ends now. This video is not about being mysterious, it's about being unreadable, emotionally sealed, linguistically untouchable, where every sentence says only what you choose and hides everything you don't. You'll learn to speak without showing, to answer, without exposing, to be present, without being reachable. Because in the game of psychological power, the one who reveals less controls more. Let's begin. Linguistic detachment initiated. Part 1. The trap of expressive speech. Most people think communication is about connection, about being real, being open, being emotionally available. So they speak from emotion, they share their thoughts, they reveal their feelings, and in the process, they give everything away. Every smile, every sigh, every upward shift in tone becomes data. Data someone else can use to read you, to decode you, to control you. I can tell that upset you. You don't sound sure. You hesitated when I asked that. This is the trap. You think you're just expressing yourself. But what you're really doing is exposing yourself. Your tone betrays your confidence. Your pacing reveals your guilt. Your qualifiers signal your fear. And when your language reflects your emotion, you're no longer in control of the conversation. Your emotions are. Now the person across from you knows how to push, when to withdraw, what makes you crack. You've given them the keys, without even realizing it, because expressive speech feels natural. But in high-stakes dynamics, it's a liability. Emotionally open language creates psychological openings, and the more they can read, the less they respect. So the rule is simple. If they can read it, they can reach it. And if they can reach it, they can manipulate it. The first step to power is cutting the link between what you feel and what you say. That's not dishonesty, that's defense. Part 2. The detachment frame. Powerful people don't just control what they say. They control what their words reveal. They speak without signaling. They answer without emotion. They stay composed, even under pressure. This is the detachment frame, a psychological posture where your language becomes clean, cold, and closed. You're not cold because you're angry. You're cold because you've chosen not to be accessible. In this frame, you don't speak to connect. You don't speak to explain. You speak to define boundaries, and nothing else. No upshift in tone, no emotional loading, no defensive pacing, just calm, deliberate, flat communication. Because here's the truth. The more energy you put into a sentence, the less control you have over it. People read not just your words, but the charge behind them. Are you speaking to clarify or to be accepted? Are you answering to maintain peace or to hold frame? Are you responding from truth or from fear? The detachment frame removes all of that. It eliminates the signal. You say what's needed, then you stop. You don't invite more. You don't chase understanding. You don't perform softness to ease discomfort. You stay still, flat, intact. And in doing so, you create a dynamic where the other person has to work to interpret you. They lean in, they guess, they hesitate, because they no longer know what you're feeling or where you stand. That uncertainty is power, because the one who is unreadable cannot be framed, led, or manipulated. And that begins with building a voice that doesn't leak. Part 3. The methods. 5 tactics to speak without revealing. When your words reveal nothing, your power becomes invisible and unstoppable. These 5 tactics are designed to disconnect your speech from your state. No emotion, no tells, no trace. 1. Content neutrality. Never speak from emotion. Speak from observation. Avoid language that includes, "I feel like that made me upset. I was really hurt when." Instead, state facts. That happened. This is my decision. That doesn't align with what I allow. You're not cold. You're clear, and clarity without emotion equals control. 2. Tone. Flatlining. Keep your tone steady. No inflection, no emotion, no shift in tempo. Even when provoked, stay calm. Even when praised, stay neutral. Even when insulted, stay flat. Flat tone disorients. Because most people expect a reaction-based rhythm. You give them none, so they lose their place in the game. 3. Avoiding self-reference. Detach the language from you. No, I think. No, I feel. No, I want. Speak from position, not personality. That doesn't work. This isn't the direction. That's not the dynamic I accept. You remove yourself as a target. They can't attack you if you never expose your stance. 4th reversal, answering. When someone asks a probing or emotional question, don't answer it. Flip the frame. Why are you being distant? Why do you expect access? What did I do wrong? What makes you think this is about blame? You don't defend. You disrupt. 5. Delayed response. Before you speak, pause. A full beat. This subtle delay breaks your emotional reflex. It keeps your nervous system calm, and it gives the impression that everything you say is intentional. Even if you're unsure, you never look it, because you don't fill space with noise. You let silence do the pre-work. Each tactic by itself is powerful. Together, they build a persona that's unreadable, unshakable, and impossible to manipulate. Your voice is no longer a window. It's a wall, and behind that wall, no one knows what you're thinking, which means you hold all the control. Part 4. The psychological effect. When people can't read you, they start reacting to their own imagination. They guess, they project, they assume, and none of it lands. Because you reveal nothing. This is the psychological effect of linguistic detachment. They lose control of the interaction, while you maintain full control of yourself. 1. They begin to overanalyze. The moment you go cold, they start looking for clues. A slight pause becomes suspicion. A neutral tone feels like distance. A calm reply becomes intimidating. They study your silence, because there's no emotion to study in your words. And the more they analyze, the more power you gain. 2. They start talking more. When you say less dash, they try to fill the silence, not just with words, but with admissions, justifications, and emotional exposure. They over-explain, they overshare, they try to pull you into expression, but you stay still, you stay clean, and while they reveal more, you reveal nothing. 3. They feel disconnected and dependent. Most people are addicted to emotional feedback. They need to know, are you upset? Do you still care? Did they win? But your detachment provides no feedback loop. It's not cruelty, it's control. Now they're unsure if you're calm, cold, or calculating. They don't know how to move because they don't know where you stand. And that uncertainty becomes psychological pressure. 4. They feel powerless, but they can't stop engaging. You become the mystery they can't solve, the mirror that reflects nothing, the presence that can't be pulled. They feel like they're the only one feeling, and that imbalance eats at their mind. They question themselves, they second-guess their words, they chase your reaction, your approval, your response. But you never give it, because you've disconnected language from emotion. This is not manipulation, this is protection. This is what happens when your communication stops serving connection and starts serving sovereignty. Part 5. The discipline. Linguistic detachment isn't a tactic, it's a discipline. You don't just decide to speak without revealing. You train your system to stop leaking through language. And that training starts with control over 3 things: your mouth, your nervous system, and your need to be understood. 1. Break the reflex to explain. Every time you feel the urge to explain, pause. That urge isn't clarity, it's fear. You're afraid of being misunderstood. You're afraid of seeming cold. You're afraid of losing rapport. Break that. Let them misunderstand. Let the silence hold. You're not here to be decoded. You're here to stay intact. 2nd, train in stillness. Before you speak, breathe. Drop the energy in your chest. Loosen your jaw. Relax your face. Then speak. If your body stays calm, your voice stays cold. And cold voices don't betray the system. 3. Reduce verbal volume by 40%. Count your words, then cut them. What you want to say: I'm really just trying to avoid conflict here, so I think it's better if I step back a little, if that's okay. What you actually say: I'm stepping back. Less words, less emotion, less exposure. 4. Replace feeling words with structural ones. Never say, I feel like this is unfair. I'm hurt by how that was said. I just need to be understood. Instead, this dynamic no longer works. I'm not continuing under those terms. This isn't a space I'll remain in. Speak from structure, not sensitivity. Let your language represent position dash, not pain. 5. Practice micro-detachment in safe interactions. Low-stakes conversation is your training ground. Pull back emotionally in everyday replies. Slow your speech. Say less. Don't offer anything unprompted. You're not ignoring them. You're training yourself to stop needing to be read, because the goal isn't to be mysterious. The goal is to be sealed. Linguistic detachment is a muscle, and every time you choose stillness over reaction, you build it. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be untouchable, and now you are. Part 6. Conclusion. Say nothing they can use. Every word you speak is either an anchor dash or a window. Most people use language to connect. You use it to conceal, to define, to protect. Because when your words reveal nothing, they can't be turned against you. They can't provoke you if you don't bite. They can't guilt you if you don't explain. They can't read you. If you never give them anything to read, you've stopped offering clarity. You've stopped chasing understanding. You've stopped speaking from fear. Now, your voice is a tool, not a leak. Your silence is a shield, not a gap. Your presence is felt, but never figured out. You're no longer giving people something to decode. You're giving them nothing. And from that nothing, they build their own uncertainty. That's the point. Let them talk. Let them guess. Let them overthink. You just sit there, flat, still, untouchable. Because power isn't loud, and mystery isn't created by cleverness. It's created by refusal. Refusal to be read. Refusal to be cracked. Refusal to hand them anything they can turn into leverage. From now on, your language is clean, minimal, emotionless by design, and in every interaction, you say nothing they can use. CTA. For the next 72 hours, say less than you want to. Say nothing you don't need to. Delay before answering. Remove every emotional cue. Speak like you have nothing to prove. And everything to protect, because real power doesn't speak to be known. It speaks to stay unreachable. SDP 001. Cold Linguistics continues.